There is a car wash on almost every busy corner in America. Every car gets dirty. People come back to the same one again and again. It runs on water, soap, and a conveyor belt, with barely anyone working the floor. Cash coming in all day, every day, in every kind of weather. It sounds like the simplest, most recession-proof cash business you could ever buy. It is not. A single wash, after the water, the chemicals, and the card fee, earns almost nothing. The real money is somewhere else entirely, and it is one of the strangest business models in all of retail, because the most profitable customer a car wash has is the one who pays every single month and almost never shows up. The largest chain in the country has more than 2 million people on a monthly plan. Those members bring in about 3/4 of its wash sales, and each one is worth roughly 7 times a normal customer. Private equity quietly figured this out and poured more than $4 billion into car washes in just a few years, not to wash cars, to sell subscriptions. So, what does a car wash actually cost to build? Why is a single wash almost worthless? How did a monthly membership turn concrete tunnels into a Wall Street asset? And what could turn this gold mine into a graveyard of empty tunnels on every corner? The buy-in. There are a few kinds of car wash, and only one of them is taking over America. At the bottom, there is the self-serve bay, where you hold the wand yourself, and the in-bay automatic, that single machine that lives at a gas station and drives back and forth over your car. Small money, small footprint. And then there is the one the whole industry is racing to build, the express exterior tunnel. A long conveyor that hooks your car, pulls it through a tube of soap and spinning cloth, washes the outside in about 3 minutes, and spits you out at a row of free vacuums. That tunnel is the expensive one, and the numbers are serious. A real express tunnel costs somewhere around $2 to $7 million just to build, before you have bought a single square foot of land. And the land matters, because a car wash lives on visibility and easy access. You need close to an acre on a busy corner, and that corner can cost another $500,000 to $2 million or more. And the equipment by itself, the conveyor, the arches, the brushes, the giant blowers, can run from $500,000 to $2 million. On top of that, you need a water reclaim system, another $50,000 to $250,000, which recycles your water, and, in many towns, is the thing that lets you get a permit at all. That reclaim system is not just a rule to satisfy. It can cut a wash's water use by 60 to 80%, and it pays for itself in a few years, which matters a lot when you are running 100,000 cars through a year. Volume is the whole game. A brand new express tunnel might do 100 to 200 cars a day at launch. A mature, well-run one on a great corner can push 700 to 1,000 cars a day. The building barely changes. What changes is how many cars you can move through it, and how many of those drivers you can turn into members. Almost nobody pays cash for this. Government-backed small business loans go up to $5 million, often with only 10% down, and in a single recent year, that loan program alone backed over $670 million of car wash financing. And here is the money trick that poured fuel on the whole boom. You build the wash, then you sell the land and the building to an investor at a low yield, roughly 6 to 7%, take that big lump of cash, and go build the next one. That real estate becomes a machine for funding more machines. That single piece of financial engineering, borrow cheap, build, sell the dirt, repeat, is how a handful of chains went from a few sites to hundreds in just a few years. What you inherit. Buy or build one of these, and 4 things come with it. First, the corner. A car wash is a slave to traffic count, and to how easily a car can pull in and pull out. A great machine on a dead corner is a dead business. You are not really buying a car wash. You are buying a location, and betting on the cars that drive past it. Second, the water and the rules. You use and dump a lot of water, so you inherit environmental permits, wastewater rules, and the reclaim system that keeps you legal. Getting those permits approved can take 6 months to a year before you pour any concrete. Third, the membership machine. If you buy an existing wash, you are really buying its list of monthly members, its cancellation rate, and the billing software that charges their cards. That subscriber list is the asset, and the building is just where it lives. Fourth, the competition risk. Nothing stops a rival from opening a newer, shinier tunnel directly across the street from you. And in a boom, with billions of dollars chasing corners, that is exactly what keeps happening. The corner that looked like a gold mine when you signed the loan can have 2 competitors on it within 18 months, all fighting for the same drivers with discounted first-month memberships. The revenue layers, 5 ways a car wash makes money, and notice how the obvious one barely counts. Number 1. Just the single wash. You drive up, you pay $5 to $20, you get one wash. This looks like the whole business. It is the bait. Number 2. The monthly membership. Unlimited washes for a flat charge on your card, usually $20 to $50 a month. This is the beating heart of the modern car wash, and it gets its own section in a moment. Number 3. Premium tiers. Once someone is a member, you sell them up. Fancier packages, ceramic coatings, titanium sealants, all for a higher monthly rate. And the biggest chains push members from a basic plan into a premium one, and it lifts the revenue from every single member without adding a single new customer. At the largest chain, more than 60% of members sit on a premium plan, and a growing slice pay for the top titanium tier. That is pure margin, layered on top of people who already signed up. Number 4. The add-ons. The free vacuums are the clever part. They are free on purpose because they pull cars into the lot, keep members coming back, and cost almost nothing to run. Around them, you sell mats, air fresheners, fragrance, and detailing on the side. Number 5. The dirt itself. A prime corner lot that quietly goes up in value on its own and can be sold to an investor for a lump sum while you keep running the wash on a lease. Listen to that again. Here is the model that turned a corner car wash into a Wall Street asset. Start with the problem. A single wash, once you subtract the water, the soap, the electricity, and the fee the card company takes, earns very little. So the smart operators stopped selling washes. They started selling subscriptions. Unlimited washes. One flat monthly charge on your card, renewing on its own, forever, until you remember to cancel. Now watch the strange math. Picture a member who pays $25 a month. If they run their car through 10 times, they have squeezed real value out of you and cost you water, chemicals, and wear on the machine. But most members do not wash 10 times a month. Many wash 2 or 3 times, and a big share sign up, pay, and then barely come at all. That member who pays $25 and washes once, or forgets they ever joined, is almost pure profit. You already have their money. You are just waiting to see if they bother to show up. Multiply that across a whole town of cards renewing quietly on the 1st of every month, and you have the most beautiful cash flow in retail. Today, the nation's largest chain, Mr. Car Wash, has more than 2 million people in its unlimited wash club. Those members generate about 76% of its wash sales, and the company says its average member spends roughly 7 times what a pay-per-wash customer does. Listen to that again. You are not really selling car washes. You are selling a monthly subscription on a card, and the best customer you have is the one who pays every month and almost never comes. That is the moment a car wash stops being a car wash and becomes a subscription business wearing a concrete tunnel. And that is exactly why private equity poured more than $4 billion into this since 2020. They were not buying car washes. They were buying recurring monthly revenue on a prime corner with fat margins and almost no staff. A well-located express tunnel can gross $1.5 to $2.5 million a year with just 6 to 9 employees at margins around 30 to 45%. The best operators report cash returns of around 50% a year on a new store and pay the whole build back in under 3 years. Compare that to almost any other small business you could name. That is the whole reason the suds got hot. The ledger. So what does it cost to keep the tunnel running? Start with the build loan. You borrowed millions to put it up, and that payment is due every month, whether 1 car shows up or 1,000 do. Then, water and chemicals. A reclaim system cuts your water bill, but the soaps, the waxes, and the premium coatings add up fast at high volume. Then, electricity. The conveyor, the arches, the huge drying blowers, and the bank of vacuums make this a seriously power-hungry building. Then, labor. This express model is deliberately thin, 6 to 9 people on a shift, but you still have to staff every single hour you are open. One national chain runs more than 500 locations with under 7,000 total employees, which tells you how few people it takes to run one tunnel. Then, wear and replacement. Brushes, belts, blowers, and pumps run all day long and they wear out. Something is always breaking. Then the land. Property tax on an expensive corner, or a lease payment if you sold the real estate to fund the next site. Then the software and the card fees. Running 2 million subscriptions is a payments and technology business in its own right. And underneath all of it, churn. Every month, some members quit, and you have to sign up new ones just to stay exactly where you are. Lose 5% of your members a month and do nothing, and half your subscriber base can quietly melt away inside a year. The wash looks the same, the revenue does not. The trap. Here is the trap. The subscription model that made this a goldmine is the very same thing that makes it fragile, and the boom quietly built the bust right into the corner. First, saturation. Private equity poured in billions and built tunnels by the thousands, sometimes 3 or 4 of them on the same stretch of road. The consolidators, chains you may know like the big national brands, have been opening 50 to 200 locations a year each, all from the same standardized blueprint. Every new one steals cars from the others. Even the biggest chains openly admit in their own investor filings that their new locations eat into the sales of their existing ones. There are only so many corners and only so many drivers, and the money kept building anyway. Second, churn. Your revenue is a stack of monthly subscriptions, and the instant you raise the price, a chunk of them cancel. One national chain saw its cancellation rate jump right after it raised membership prices. Those phantom members who pay and never come are wonderful, right up until the day they wake up and quit. Third, the retrofit trap. Build your tunnel for pay per wash traffic, then actually succeed at selling memberships, and suddenly your line is too short for the Saturday rush. Operators have actually ripped out and lengthened their tunnels a year after opening because they built for the wrong business. And there is a slower threat underneath all of it. Fewer young people are buying cars, ride-sharing keeps growing, and electric vehicles come with lower maintenance habits. The pool of cars to wash is not growing the way the number of tunnels is. That car wash does not care that it is the 4th one on the block. The loan payment does not care either, the man who built the first one. To understand what a car wash really is, look at the very first one, because it was never about clean cars, it was about a factory line. In 1914, in Detroit, 2 men opened the first car wash business in America and called it the automated laundry. It was not automated at all. Cars were pushed by hand through a tunnel, and a row of workers each did one job. One soaped, one rinsed, one dried, exactly like a factory assembly line. From the very beginning, the whole idea was throughput, move cars through fast. Then, in 1946, also in Detroit, an inventor named Thomas Simpson looked at a conveyor belt running in a factory and had the obvious thought: hook the car to a moving conveyor and let it pull the car through the tunnel. Add an overhead sprinkler and a 50 horsepower blower to dry it, and let the machine do the moving. That same year, an equipment maker sold the first automatic system to a man named Paul Moranian, who opened Paul's Automatic Auto Wash, recognized as the first fully automatic car wash in the world. A year later, Life magazine ran a spread on it called the 2-minute car washer, showing the machine wash 750 cars in a day with just 11 workers. Paul's would go on to wash close to 400,000 cars a year. Notice what the real invention was. Not cleaner cars, faster cars, more cars per hour, fewer workers per car. That car wash was born as a throughput machine, a factory line for automobiles. And the modern billion-dollar version did not win with a better machine. It won by realizing you could put the whole thing on a monthly card and make the most money from the people who never use the machine at all. The 1946 breakthrough moved cars through a tunnel, and the modern one moves money through a card, the biggest failure. Here is the warning the boom would rather you did not hear, and it is written on the biggest name in the business. Mr. Car Wash is the largest car wash chain in America, with more than 500 locations and over 2 million subscribers. It is a strong operating business. In 2021, at the very height of the frenzy, it went public on the stock market at around $15 a share. The humble car wash had officially arrived on Wall Street. But look at what was happening underneath the headline. Even in a record year for sales, the company posted a net loss because it was carrying close to $1 billion of debt. When it raised membership prices, its cancellation rate ticked up. Its new locations started eating into its older ones, and the stock never really rewarded the people who bought in on the dream. Then, in early 2026, a private equity firm took Mr. Car Wash private again at $7 a share in an all-cash deal backed by $900 million of fresh borrowed money. $7 is less than half of what public investors paid near the top. That operating business kept washing cars just fine the entire time, opening new stores, adding members, running its 2 million subscriptions. The investment, bought at the peak of the hype, did not keep its promise. Now multiply that story by a whole industry. More than $4 billion of private money went out and built tunnels on nearly every corner, all of them chasing the same subscribers, most of them carrying debt. This business model really works, but the boom that built it may have built one wash too many on your street. How the survivors do it. 5 habits, straight out of everything you just saw. Habit 1. Sell the subscription, not the wash. Build the whole business on recurring monthly members instead of one-time cars. That is revenue that shows up on the first of the month, even when it rains for a week. Habit 2. Win the corner. Location is close to everything. High traffic, easy in and easy out, and real distance from the next tunnel. The surest way to lose is to be the 4th wash on a crowded road. Habit 3. Own or control the dirt. Half the real wealth here is the land. Own it outright, or sell it to an investor and roll the cash into your next site, but keep that corner working for you. Habit 4. Manage churn like a subscription company, because that is what you are. Watch your cancellation rate like a hawk. Raise prices carefully, and upgrade your existing members into premium tiers instead of only ever chasing new signups. Habit 5. Keep the labor thin and the machine reliable. The whole express model wins on low staff and high uptime. A tunnel that breaks down on a sunny Saturday is just money lying on the ground, because a sunny weekend is when half your month's cars come through. The operators who win treat the machine like an airline treats a plane. Every hour it is down, it is losing money. Does this actually work? Both ends, and they look nothing alike. Take the good version. You build a tunnel on a great corner. Fill it with 2,000 monthly members at $25 a month. Run it with 7 people at 40% margins. And own the appreciating land underneath it. That is $1.5 to $2.5 million a year. A machine that mostly runs itself, and a subscriber list that a buyer will pay a premium to take over. This is precisely why private equity chased it so hard. Now the bad version. You build the 4th tunnel on a saturated road. Overpay for the corner. Watch a newer wash open across the street, raise your prices and trigger a wave of cancellations, and sit there making loan payments on a conveyor with no cars on it. Or you buy the dream at the very top, like the public investors who paid $15 a share and watched it go private at 7. Put the 2 on one page. One operator sold subscriptions on the right corner and owned the dirt, against the one who bought a concrete tunnel into a crowded market at the peak of the hype. Same machine, opposite outcomes. That wash itself was never the business. So does it work? Yes, if you are really selling a subscription on a corner you control. And no, if you actually think you are in the business of washing cars. Everything here lands on one strange truth. You were never really in the car wash business. That first one, back in 1914, was a factory line for cleaning cars quickly, and the machine that made it famous in 1946 moved a car through a tunnel in 2 minutes flat. And the version that built fortunes did not wash cars any better than that. It put the whole thing on a monthly card and discovered that the best customer of all is the one who pays and never comes. That is why private equity spent more than $4 billion, not on soap and water, but on recurring revenue sitting on prime corners. And it is why the biggest chain of them all was worth more as a private subscription machine than as a public car wash. Soap cleans the car. A conveyor moves it through. But what you were selling was never the wash. It was the monthly charge that lands on the card, whether the car is dirty or not. Own a car wash, and you will spend your days thinking about water and brushes and blowers. And the people who got rich were thinking about one number, and one number only. How many cards renew on the first of the month?